The year is 1982. A young Turkish sponge diver named Mehmed Çakir is diving for his catch off a treacherous cape called Uluburun. But he isn't looking for sponges anymore. He's found something strange on the seabed. He sketches what he sees. Metal biscuits with ears, he calls them. He takes his sketch to a museum. And when the archaeologists arrive, they realize Mehmed hasn't just found a few lumps of metal. He has stumbled upon a time machine 300 years ago. A ship left port. It was small, only about 15 meters long, the size of a school bus. But it was packed to the gills that it was likely a Canaanite ship, what we might call Proto-Phoenician, sailing from the coast of the Levant. The destination? Probably a Mycenaean palace in Greece. On board were two worlds colliding. That we know there were at least two Mycenaean officials on board, elite passengers. They had their own weapons, their own seals, and their own pottery. But the men running the ship? They were Canaanite merchants. We know this because of the weights. Merchants always carried personal sets of weights to measure value. And these weights are in the shape of animals, lions, bulls, a distinctly Canaanite style. This was a multicultural crew on a diplomatic mission. But the real story is in the hold. When archaeologists excavated the wreck, lying at 50 meters deep, they didn't find gold first. They found the foundation of the Bronze Age. Stacked in 4 neat rows were 354 copper ingots, 10 tons of pure Cypriot copper. These are the famous oxhide ingots, shaped like stretched animal hides, so they could be easily carried by mules over land once they reached port. But copper is useless without tin, and right next to it, they found a ton of tin ingots. Recent 2022 analysis proved this. Tin came from as far away as Uzbekistan mines in the mountains of Central Asia. This ship connected the mines of Asia to the palaces of Greece. This was enough metal to outfit an army. If you alloyed all the copper and tin together, you could equip 300 Bronze Age warriors with swords and armor. But if you were a king receiving this shipment, the metal was just the bulk order. The real gifts were in the jars. They found 149 Canaanite jars. For decades, archaeologists thought they held wine or oil. But when they analyzed the residue, they found something else: terebinth resin. This was ancient turpentine used as incense, perfume, and varnish for royal furniture. Then, the glass. Almost 175 glass ingots. Cobalt blue, turquoise, lavender. These were the raw materials for making jewelry. They were found stacked like discs, ready to be melted down by Mycenaean artisans to imitate the precious lapis lazuli that Egyptian pharaohs loved. They found the tusks of African elephants, hippopotamus teeth, and ostrich eggshells. Imagine the journey: goods from the heart of Africa, ending up on a ship off the coast of Turkey. But how do we know exactly when this ship sank? How can we be so sure it was 1305 BC? Because of one tiny object, a golden scarab. When they cleaned the incrustation off this pendant, they found the name of one of history's most famous women, Nefertiti, the Queen of Egypt. This ship couldn't have sunk before her reign. Combined with tree ring dating of the firewood used as packing material on the ship, scientists pinpointed the sinking to roughly 1305 BC. This ship went down right in the middle of the Bronze Age, just as the great empires were writing letters to each other, letters that mention gifts exactly like the ones found here. So what happened? Why did this floating fortune end up on the bottom? The wreck lies close to a rocky headland. Archaeologists believe a sudden wind, a dreaded white squall, drove the ship onto the rocks. They carried 24 stone anchors on board, weighing up to 200 kilos each. Maybe they tried to drop anchor to stop the drift. It didn't work. The ship sank in about 50 meters of water, and there it sat for 3,300 years. It took 11 campaigns and over 22,000 dives to excavate this site. Today, the treasures rest in the Bodrum Museum of Underwater Archaeology in Turkey. The Uluburun Shipwreck is more than just a pile of old metal. It is proof that the world has always been connected. It shows us a time when a Cypriot ship, carrying Afghan tin, African ebony, and Egyptian gold, sailed with Greek passengers toward a Mycenaean palace, a single vessel carrying the wealth of empires. So next time you look at the sea, remember, beneath the waves lie not just shipwrecks, but stories. And some stories, like the one at Uluburun, can tell us exactly who we were 33 centuries ago. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more dives into history, hit subscribe and ring the bell. And let me know in the comments. If you were diving and found a metal biscuit with ears, would you know what it was?